What's going on, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the You Glow Nurse podcast with me, your host, Fallon Lopez, RN BSN, certified health and wellness coach and CEO of RUL, where I encourage new nurses to take back their health and healing and find their voice again. And in today's episode of the podcast, I have another Houston native. Woo, Houston. Hey, we in the building. Yes, today I have another opportunity to talk to a new friend, a new nursing friend, Miss Myra Taylor. Y'all, this Season 4 has been all about purpose, redefining our purpose, restoring our purpose as nurses. There are times and tribulations, tough times and tribulations that happen. It is no doubt being a nurse is one of the toughest professions. And because of these tough trials and tribulations, you may have found yourself in a place where you are underestimating, rediscovering, rethinking your purpose as a nurse. Is this really for me? Is this really something that I want to do for the long run? I know I've been there. I know I've experienced that in my life. It is what has brought me to this path of health and wellness coaching, of wanting to do better for myself, of pivoting into another aspect of nursing, and to again restoring my purpose as a nurse, redefining my purpose as a nurse. It is in those trials, it is in those moments of pain where we are finally able to see our purpose again, and it happens. So I wanted Season 4 to be all about times when we experience this pain and how nurses have experienced the pivot and in their process have been able to really redefine and restore their purpose again. What does that look like? And to let you know, you're not alone on this nursing journey, in this nursing wellness journey. And there are tools that you can use. There are strategies. There is a community out there for you, and we're so excited to have you on there. So make sure you like, subscribe, and join the You Glow Nurse podcast. Make sure you leave a subscription. Make sure you subscribe and leave a comment. Go ahead and rate us on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify and Amazon Podcasts as well. We getting out there, y'all. We spreading this wellness journey. We're spreading this wellness to everyone. So make sure you join our community and check the show notes for the links to all of my social medias to connect with me online. Okay, let's bring out my new friend, Miss Myra Taylor. Here is a little bit about her. Myra is a Houston native, graduated from the University of Texas in Austin with a bachelor's of science in nursing. And again, graduated from UT Arlington with a master's of science in nursing for family nurse practitioner. Myra has been a nurse for over 10 years with experience in oncology and women's services. Currently working in women's services, but also as a clinical nurse instructor, created the company Planner Vibes in 2021, which now focuses on providing self-care journals and self-care accountability tools for the average woman. Myra enjoys self-care days and spending time with family and friends. Let's bring her out, Miss Myra Taylor, and welcome her to the Glow Nurse podcast. Hey, Myra, what's going on?
Hey,
How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm
Yeah.
just reflecting as we were talking just a little bit a while ago, just chit-chatting, catching up. This whole purpose thing, it's something that a lot of nurses experience, when they get to that point in their lives. And maybe early on, you get to that reality, right? That reality moment, the reality check.
Yeah.
This was not what I thought it was going to be.
No.
And how do you pivot? And how do you find the time to pivot and to own your process, to grow from it? I'm really encouraged to hear more about your process, because it sounds like from what we talked about already, like it was a process that brought you to this new venture, becoming an entrepreneur, getting out of your comfort zone. So I'm curious, as we talk about your journals and everything that you have going on, how has journaling helped you find your purpose?
I feel like journaling helped me find my purpose with just being able to like get out of my head. I feel like I'm the type of person, I have a lot in my head. My mind is always going, and kind of settling my thoughts and figuring out, okay, what do I want to do now
Mm,
in nursing? Nursing has changed a lot in the last couple of years, and I think journaling has allowed me to put my thoughts on paper and figure out what I want to do, how can I do it, kind of go back and reflect on things when I was
mm,
like at a low point, or when I was just in my head about all this self-doubt. And I can go back and reflect and look like, oh, I've come so far. Like, I'm not that person, back then. I've actually been able to, make some changes.
yeah. So I heard you say something that I can align with. I definitely feel the same way when you brought up, just being that nurse with a lot of things going on in your mind, having some self doubts, getting it down on paper. What was a time where you experienced self doubt in your purpose? And how did you like how did journaling help you out of that? When was a time in your career that you experienced that? Like a specific time if you have one. And then how did you get to journaling? Like how did it bring you to journaling?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Because when you said where you were, I was like, oh, let me start in college. But no, since we're gonna do
Start
while I'm
wherever you
employed,
like. Like, yeah. If it was in college, like, let me know. Like,
I
was
feel
that your
like
first?
I've gone through like the journaling process on and off
Mm,
for a while. I kind of as far as like, I don't know, I feel like I'm starting to learn that a lot of nurses have had similar experiences,
mm,
which is so crazy because at the time you think you're alone.
yeah.
But in as far as a nurse, once I became a nurse, um well, let's go back. Okay, so I graduated in 2011. So I graduated in 2011 from college. And I was in a weird space where I didn't know if I wanted to stay in Austin, if I wanted to move back to Houston. It kind of was like, I'm over it. I've been here for 4.5 years. I'm tired. I'm ready to go back home. But then it's like, okay, well, I kind of hesitated and stayed a little longer and kind of missed a couple of entries into residency programs
Mm,
because I was pushing it back. I was like, well, I don't know what I want to do. So I don't want to apply, get a job, and then I feel like I got to stay. So having self doubt at that point, trying to figure out where am I supposed to be, especially when I knew students who had job offers before we even graduated.
mm,
So I decided to end up coming back to Houston, end up getting a job, did that, and that was in oncology. So did that for 3 years. But in the back of my head, I always wanted to do women's services.
mm,
I just missed the opportunities to get into a women's services residency program because, I was kind of flaky. I was like, I don't know. So, but I was able to get into that program. But I knew I didn't want to stay. I liked
mm,
it. It was good work. Like I learned a lot of med surg skills. Nowadays, they don't tell you to go into med surg initially. Now people are saying you can go wherever you want. But at that time, I went into the med surg route, a more surgical route, and kind of got comfortable. You know, I said, "Oh, I'm gonna be here for 2 years. I'm gonna leave." Well, I was there for 3 years, so I kind of was just trying to figure out my purpose. Like, okay, do I want to stay here? This is a good hospital. They have good benefits. People retire from here. This is
mm,
not just you know, then having to sit back and like reflect on what do I want to do. Like,
mm,
I want to do women's services. I remember I would jot down. At that point, I was just jotting stuff,
mm,
you know, um, jot down Like, I really want to be in women's services. I want to do nurse practitioner. I want to have my own clinic. I want to do all these different things. And kind of like getting to the point where it's like, okay, what are you going to do? You know?
Mm.
So using, as we were talking earlier, like bullet point journaling, I feel like that was like at that point when I was doing bullet points, you know. Then got into nursing, got into women's specialty, and at the same time went into women's specialty, started my MP program at the same time. So got the position and also found out that MP school was going to start a couple months later.
Wow.
So that was a lot.
Yeah.
And I tell people my MP story because I'm like, it took me 5 years to finish that program because
Mm.
I kept stopping because I
Yeah.
had so much going on. But within the later years of getting out of MP school and having to realize that things are not cut and paste,
Mm.
not
Mhm.
go like linear, you know, we know we go to school, we go to school, we go work at a hospital, we retire.
Yeah.
But started journaling a lot after MP school because things were not going like I thought they were supposed to go, you know?
Yeah.
So having to really get out of my head with all the stress and all
Mm.
the burnout from being in school, just kind of like journaling through that process, finding out like, was this the right decision? Do I
Mm.
really want to do this? This is not happening according to what I wanted to go, how I wanted to go. And having to just like let it out, um,
Mm.
and work through my emotions, work through my feelings, and like on paper.
Yeah. Wow.
It's a lot of
Wow.
rambling, but
No, not at all. I'm just like, wow. Like I just your story, it's so real. It's so honest. So I can appreciate that. Like the whole 5-year thing, like people make things seem so easy. Like it's all,
mm-hmm,
like you said, cut and paste. And then also we put these certain, I know I've done that where I put these certain expectations, like with my age, I'm going to have this, I'm going to look
mm-hmm,
like this, I'm going to
mm-hmm,
be achieved, I'm going to feel this, and this is what my life's going to be. And it's like, that's great and all, but let's welcome back to real life and
mm-hmm,
nursing life as well. Like, it's stressful on you emotionally. It's stressful on you physically. And then if you want to go back to school, that's another stress. And then if you have a family, if you start a
mm-hmm.
family, if you're trying to pay off debt, if you're trying to take care of you, like it can be a lot. And so a lot of things aren't like that typical, linear. Now, for those that it is that way, well, praise the Lord. Good for you.
Yes,
Great. Like wonderful. But not everybody.
no,
And it's okay. It's okay. So I love hearing that you were able to use journaling as a way to cope through that time, as a way to kind of get your mind right, check back in with you.
mm-hmm.
Was it something that you heard of? Did somebody tell you about journaling, or was it like something that you just like how like you're kind of drawn to it kind of thing? I know I've
So
experienced that.
my actually my dad will
Oh,
always
cool.
tell me that you need to write it down, you need to write, you need to write down, you need to write your thoughts down, you need to, he always was telling me like I need a notebook, I need to write. um he always was telling me you need to write it down, basically.
Yeah.
Anything, like, you can't keep that all in your head. You need to write down what you're going to do so it can
Yeah.
remind you what you said you were going to do. Like,
Yes.
hold yourself accountable for it. Um, yeah, he would tell me, like, you need to get a notebook and you need to, write, write your stuff down,
Yes.
because I guess he could tell, like, I got some, and I would say, I got so much stuff going on, it's so much going on. Like, I got all these different thoughts. I probably only ate once today, like,
Mhm.
it's a lot. So,
Yeah. And sometimes, yeah, like sometimes it's not as much as we seem,
mm-hmm,
or we haven't processed it as well, to kind of reduce the load. if that makes
Mhm.
sense.
Yeah.
Because you have a million thoughts and sometimes you're not able to process that thought. And then another thought comes and then another
Mhm.
thought comes. Like there are studies that show like we have 50,000 thoughts a day and a lot of them can be negative and repeating. And so like if
Mhm.
we don't like have a method, a way to like get it out, it like you were sharing earlier, it doesn't necessarily have to be just writing on the pen and the pad. Maybe
Mhm.
it's putting things in your phone. Maybe it's
Mhm.
doing a voice memo. Maybe it's
Yep.
just talking to a friend, like getting it out somehow from just staying in your head. Then you can start to see the patterns. Then you can start to see, oh, okay, like you said, hold yourself accountable. Like
Mhm.
literally, my therapist was just telling me this because I was like emotional. I was feeling overwhelmed. I have a lot on my plate. And I'm like, what am I going to do? I don't know what to do. Like, she's like, but what is your overall goal, Fallon? You
Mhm.
need to write it out. I was like, oh, you know what? I did write
Yes.
it out.
Yep.
I have it out on paper and pen. I need to
And
go look
you
at
can
it.
go back and see. I said this, and this. I said I was going to do this, or this was stressing me out at this time, and I was able to map out my goals, how I was going to achieve it,
Yeah.
or some days could be so simple as today. Today was a lot.
Yeah.
X, Y, and Z happened. You know, questioning yourself, and at the end I always put like quotes or make like a statement or something like
Yeah.
so
Like
it
a positive affirmation.
yeah. And yeah, so I always well now I'm usually doing like a positive affirmation in the midst of whatever I'm journaling, because like I start writing, like I might be feeling like down or whatever,
Hmm.
or I might just be stressed out about stuff, and as I'm writing, the stress is kind of like going away a little bit, and I'm starting to
Hmm.
see things clearly, and I'm starting to be like, no girl, you got this, like you're gonna be good. We doing good. We learning from our mistakes.
Mm.
We're going to do 1, 2, and 3. Make another bigger, like sometimes I'll journal and then I'll take like printer paper or whatever and like write stuff out to like put on my wall, and
Oh,
like it kind
yeah.
of helps you like navigate what's important, and
Yeah.
it's a stress relief to me, getting it all out.
Yeah. It's a stress relief. I love that. It's something about the brain telling, like when it sees you writing and you're like envisioning, because when you're writing, you're actually like envisioning it, you're seeing
Mm-hmm.
it, you're in the moment, whatever you're writing, whatever you're at. And so your brain starts to believe what you're writing, and you
Mm-hmm.
can change the thought patterns in that way. So there's research out there that putting it on paper, it helps you connect to those thoughts you want to feel.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to start off with like a gratitude list. Like, okay. And that's changed my mood like
Yeah.
amazingly. Like a whole 360. I'm like, what was I in a bad mood about again? Like
Yeah.
start writing, and it doesn't have to be like super like detailed. Like
No, it
I'm
doesn't.
thankful for my apartment. I'm thankful for my parents, even though they get on my nerves. I'm thankful I don't binge drink anymore. Like I'm so grateful. I learned better spending habits. I'm not a
Mm-hmm.
Target. Like, so writing those things, I'm like, oh, okay, girl, you actually
Yeah.
doing some stuff. You got something to be proud of.
Exactly.
So
And that's also like a part of my like morning routine. Like I get on the side of the bed and I'm like, I call it like my thankfuls and gratefuls. Like, what am I thankful for? What am I grateful for? What are we
mhm.
gonna do today? Kind of like putting it out there. So like, okay, girl, you said it. You gonna do
You
it.
gonna do it. Like you're gonna hold yourself accountable. There's
Yeah.
so much power in words. There's so much power in just speaking kind to yourself and
Hmm.
really taking that initiative. I think that's something that I struggle with in the past. Just
Yeah.
that evaluation of how I talk to myself. So I just love that you were like intentional, like about, okay, look, I'm gonna wake up this morning, I'm gonna sit on the side of my bed instead of like rushing off to answer the phone or look at social media.
Hmm.
Let me take a moment for me. Like those is so much power in those moments. And that's really what self-care is. Like
Mm-hmm.
those are the moments that I'm like, oh, this is self-care. Not just the
Mm-hmm.
pedicures and the spas and things
Not the
and the
street
wine.
therapy. That's an added addition, but you can do some free stuff.
The free stuff. I had some clients, they're like, oh, I'm just going to do my self-care on the weekend. I'm like, you can do self-care 99, free
Every day.
99 right now,
Yes.
today.
Yes.
And it doesn't have to be the overextended thing. And I've also heard from clients that journaling can be a struggle. For you and me, we're like, we love it, we like this.
Mm-hmm.
It's like stress relieving. I can get things out of my head. I don't feel so overwhelmed. And you get to just get all of these thoughts, and
Mm-hmm.
you get to identify a lot of things too.
Yeah.
Like you said earlier, like comparison, like feeling like you're comparing, or the self-doubt, like you get to put language behind it, and
Mm-hmm.
that's so important. Like naming the feelings, naming the experiences. But that can seem scary or overwhelming to people, right? Like,
It's
so what
very scary.
tips?
It's
Yeah.
scary because I feel like once you address it, now you have to be accountable for it.
Yes.
You know, you
Then
don't
it's
want to
real, then
be,
it's a problem. It's a
yeah,
problem
it's
now.
no longer, woe is me, all this is happening to me, me, me. And it's like, okay, well, what's happening to you? Oh, this, and this. And like, okay, well, what you going to do about it? Like, are
Oh,
we going to hold
oh,
ourselves accountable? Are we going to continue to wallow in misery? What are we going to do for ourselves? Like,
yeah.
so
What
it's like
can we
self
control?
accountability. Can we fix it? Because some things, some things might not be easy to fix. It might take a lot of things to do. But we
And
can work on
something,
how we talk to ourselves.
yeah, and some things you can't fix. It's out of your control.
Hmm.
It's completely out of your control. And sometimes you need that space to just like write it out and like identify, like you said, like what can I control in this moment? How I talk to myself,
Yeah.
how I show
It's,
up for myself.
it's scary. Because I feel like it becomes real then.
Mm,
Because I'm not absent from being in my feelings, or wallowing in misery or just dumping, on myself. But then it's like, okay, what what can we do to change
yeah.
those thoughts? And that helps with journaling, but also like when you have someone telling you these things, like therapy, like you were talking
Yeah.
about therapy helps kind of like navigate how we view ourselves and how we communicate with other people that may have been a cause for some of the things in our life, or how we
Hmm.
just navigate life in general. But even therapists tell you to journal, like, or to write
Yeah.
your feelings down. And it's something that you can bring up in therapy, or something you can bring up
Yeah.
to someone else. Like, okay, because I know sometimes when I was younger, in my mind, I had a whole list of what I was gonna say. I'm gonna tell you this, and this, and then you get to that moment, and it's like I don't remember.
Blank.
So you wake up. So, you might be able to journal your feelings and express it. And you can pick up your journal like, hey, look, this is how I'm feeling. This is why I'm feeling this way. This is what happened, interaction or whatever. And it kind of helps you like navigate,
Yeah, a
you know.
100%. 100%. These are tools that overall will help you. Like, I love the word navigate. Like, you're just how you get through, how you cope, how you get to the other side. When I think about navigating, you're trying to get to the other side. What is that other side for you? What do you want to experience? How do you want to feel, instead of maybe right here in this moment? So
Mhm.
these are tools. Journaling, therapy, they're all tools that you can add to your tool belt and just whip them out whenever you need it. Like, hey,
Yeah.
like you said earlier, like you and I, we may say this is easy, like we enjoy this now, but that doesn't mean that I'm like totally like free from the pity parties.
Mm-hmm.
These, I experience the self-doubt. I still have my triggers, things that, bring me back to past moments, or like, oh wow, this is bringing up bad feelings. This reminds me of another time when I
Mm-hmm.
experienced that, So it doesn't mean that I don't experience those things. It just means that I have these tools to help me better navigate, to help me get to
Yeah.
the other side, to get to what I really want to feel. What do I want to
Mm-hmm.
feel? Oh, I need clarity in my purpose. I want to really understand, why am I a nurse? Like, how did I get here? How did I get to this point? And I feel like in that process, in that pivot, in that shift, that's really when you're able to tap in to your purpose
Mm-hmm.
again. So I want to hear from you, like, how did you get to this journaling addition to your purpose? This addition, like, you started off in oncology, you got to what you really want to do, eventually women's services, and started an MP job. How did you pivot again and get into making journals? And what did that look like for you?
Okay. So in addition to, I got into women's services, did my MP program, and then, well, before I could even get an MP job, it took a while for that. So I ended up
Oh wow.
doing I ended up becoming a clinical instructor in school for nursing school. So that I went that way, but still with navigating through my journey in life, thinking it's supposed to go,
Yeah.
linear, and it's going zigzag. I
Stop. Pause. Repeat. Again. Again. Yeah.
yeah. I kind of so 2020 happened. So I graduated in the middle of COVID.
Oh wow.
So I actually was in clinicals when they started shutting down.
Hmm.
So I was in like maybe a couple of months left of clinicals. Luckily, my school allowed us to continue our clinicals, but I know some students had to go and do simulation. Like they
Yeah.
snatched them out of the clinical site. They had to do simulation for the rest of the program. Um, so COVID happened, and then so 2021 is when I started the business, and I kind of dabbled in different things. Like so when I first started trying to figure out, okay, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to it was all self-care based things. Um, because when I give gifts to people, like for birthdays or whatever, I like to give gifts. Like I'm like, I want these people to like use it.
Oh my God, me too. Oh my God. Oh my God. Yes.
I, I enjoy like going to the store and getting like products for like bath time, shower time, scrubs, like different like self-care products that I feel like, oh, like this is something like you can use over time. I like giving gifts like that. So a lot of my gifts that I would give people around that time were like um, things around like shower time, bath time, different things like that. And I like trying like new products and stuff. So at the time, I actually wanted to do like a subscription box.
Mm.
So at first I wanted to do and like get like different samples of self-care things that people could use. But then I pivoted to maybe doing like making products.
Mm.
And then I ended up like, well, as we're gonna keep doing like if I want to do like self-care, I like journals and planners. So initially I was gonna start with a planner. I
I
still want
love
to do a planner.
planners. Oh
Still want
yes.
to do a planner.
For those type A personalities, type B. I'm like a type A, type B. Like I
Yeah,
like to plan. I like to write things out. Let
I
me
need
know.
to write it down. And I was the type of friend that if we were going to plan a trip, I had an itinerary. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
this day we're gonna do this. This day we're gonna do this. This day we're gonna do this. I'm that type of person.
Yeah.
When I get like all in, if you want me to plan a trip, I'm like, if I get all in, it's gonna be something serious. But
Yes.
so So I was like, okay, well, I want to do planners. And so I had bought like the stuff to like create a planner. And then I realized, oh, this is like this will be a lot more work. I want to dabble in it and teach myself
Mm.
to like fully give it my all, you know? Cause
Mm.
I'm like, I want to be in Hobby Lobby with the other planner people, you know? So I was like, I need to like take time to like not figure it out to the, how I want it. But so for the journals, I started with copy paper and I wrote down what I wanted my journal to look like, you know?
Mm.
The things that I want in a journal for myself. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, well, I'm probably not the only one who wants these things. So these are things that I want that I think will be useful, that I think will be good tools for people as far as like trying to navigate how to be accountable for themselves, but also like do self care things for themselves.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I know a lot of people who do for everybody,
Yeah.
but they don't really do for themselves. So I started off like kind of like mapping out my plan and then kind of sitting in it like, okay, am I going to do this? Like, you know, kind of trying to hype myself up to
Oh, wow.
do
Uh-huh.
it, you know, because
It's real. It's
people, yeah,
real.
it's real when you up here establishing the LLC and getting the domains and you know what you want your name to be. You know, it becomes serious. You know, and it's kind of like, am I? You know, if what happens if it doesn't work out?
Mm.
And kind of getting to the point like, okay, well, so what? At least I did
Yeah.
it. You know, so that
I love that. I
kind of
love
how
that.
it happened. I kind of was like doodling and mapping out, and then I had a friend tell me like how to actually like get it to actually be something. You know, getting it constructed as far as
Mm.
like becoming a book, like becoming a journal that I can sell. So I'm thankful to her for that because she's also an entrepreneur, but it's just like um, have speaking it, you know, speaking it as like, this is what I want to do, letting people know, hey, this is what I want to do. And then people who have resources, you know, were able to help me out.
Yeah. It's all about who you know. Like
It is.
you gotta ask questions.
I'm learning that, especially getting out of grad school, trying to navigate through
Mm.
like networking. I,
Yeah.
you know,
And that's where we met at a networking
yeah,
event. Yes. And now we get to be here talking about your wonderful
exactly.
planners and you get to tell us about your journey. Like, I love that. Just the realness. Like,
Yeah.
it started with an idea. It started with just writing it out. It started with just, just envisioning it. Like, and it came from your experience with NP school. Like, you're like,
Yeah.
people need this. Somebody needs
Oh,
this.
you know, eventually I feel like I just like the whole journey, like it's crazy. Like just getting to where I am now in nursing, yeah, it's a lot of ups and downs, navigating, trying to figure out, am I going to take a chance? Like, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what life is. Like, even you telling me to come on this podcast, you're getting out of your comfort zone, right? Like,
hmm
it's like life is about that. Like, sometimes we have to be pushed into those moments. And
hmm
how do we deal with those moments? Like, are we just going to, duck and cover? Are we going to sink or swim? What are you going to do? And having these tools like journaling can help you just like map it out. Like, okay, as you're going through your process, maybe it's
hmm
unknown. Maybe you're second thinking, like, why did I get into nursing? I'm done with bedside. I don't even want to do bedside. Well, let's get to the root of the problem. What is
hmm
really going on here? Like, Do you have no boundaries? Do you feel like you're getting bullied? Do you feel like you have some self-doubt? Like, and journaling kind of helps you bring out those emotions. And through those
Mhm.
emotions that you name, you start to learn yourself better. You're not just talking about the bad things. You also can focus on the good things. And I
Mhm.
think in the planning and the journaling, you begin to see your strengths. You begin to see things that you want to plan out, what things that you want
Mhm.
to come to pass, your vision. It's not just writing out the problems and just scribble
Yeah.
scratch. You also get those opportunities to see the vision as well and really build into yourself, pour into yourself. So I think that's really why we're highlighting journaling and just self-care in general, like just talking
Yeah.
better to yourself, taking better
Talk
care of
better.
yourself. Yeah.
Give yourself grace. And I feel like with your journals, it's private unless you want to show people. It's kind of like, when we were kids, we had our diary with the lock on it and all that stuff. It
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily have a lock on it, but it's your own personal
Yeah.
thing. You can allow people to, read it, or you can use it as something as far as if you need to speak out your emotions, but it's hard to like come to terms with it.
Yeah.
And I feel like, journaling, no one is going to be in your comment section telling you, about your feelings, or that you're not, that what how you feel is not correct, or just putting more salt on the wound. Like, you can go through it. You don't have to. You, I feel like it's a better resource than letting all your feelings out on social media. You
Oh, come on. Come on.
Like, this is your private person, your private thing. You can talk, get your feelings out, and not have to deal with the repercussions from social media, or letting yourself out emotionally that way. Because some people are like, oh, why people put all their feelings on social media? They need to go get a therapist. Some people, I guess they're comfortable putting it on social media. I'm not that type of person. I rather
Yeah.
write my feelings in my journal,
Yeah.
and going by my business.
Yeah.
But it's an alternative,
Yes.
to being impulsive on
Yeah.
social media. You know.
Yeah. No, I agree. That's such a good point. Like, we've all seen those people. I've probably
Okay.
been one of those people that put my
Yeah,
feelings.
you in your emotions, and
Okay.
you just boom, 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 and it's like, oh well, I might have not. Probably, maybe I shouldn't have said that. But
Yeah.
it's there now. You know,
Yeah.
with your journal, you can pop off in your journal, and put it in your
Pop off.
nightstand, and
No one
revisit
can
it.
say nothing back.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you know, and it can
Yeah.
be a tool for everybody. Like,
Hmm. Yeah. You can be your most authentic self. Like, that's what I also hear you saying. Like, you can share
yeah.
things. And then the looking back part, that part is like key. Like, looking back and seeing the growth,
Mm-hmm.
seeing what last week was like, what struggles you went through, how you overcame, how you move forward, how you deal with the next.
Exactly.
That's really good too. I like to do
Yeah.
that sometimes. I take my old journals and I'll look at how I was able to move forward, how I overcame. Because there was some dark things that I went through. Sometimes when I felt abandoned, sometimes when I felt left out, when I didn't feel enough, when I felt like, I was never going to get over something.
Mm-hmm.
And boom, look at
Yeah.
me now. I got over it.
I found some old journals. I've looked back. I'm like, ooh, girl,
Yes,
you were going
yes,
through it. Like,
oh,
ooh.
yes.
But it's like, okay, but I'm totally not there
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah. It's a way to build up your confidence as well. I love that. I love that. So, including journaling, I want to get to know you a little bit more about your
Yeah.
self care. What are some other self care things that you do as a busy nurse practitioner, clinical instructor, entrepreneur? Like, you're all around the business boss, babe. What are some things that you're doing for your self care, and how are you pouring into you during this season?
I do a lot of different things. I like to do a lot of things by myself. I'm like, I'm in that headspace of like, let me date myself type of thing.
I love it.
So as far as self care, I love, I'm being more intentional with food.
Hmm.
um, like cooking for myself, making sure I'm getting the vegetables that I need, making sure I'm getting all the nutrients that I need. Some days are better than others, but I've gotten to the point where most of the time I'm meal prepping for myself. I feel like that's a form of self care,
Yeah, it
figuring
is.
out what I like to eat, what I can cook, learning new recipes, trying new things, figuring out, do I like this? Do I not? So that's a form of self care for me. Also, hydration, being intentional with drinking water, especially with the way the heat has been
Yes.
rampant.
Ooh, we in a drought, y'all. Here in Texas,
It's
it hasn't rained in
crazy.
like 3 months.
I always like have my little cup. Like I'm
Yes.
always. So I feel like that's a form of self care too, because if you're not taking care of yourself, um, internally, like with what you eat, what you drink, it can spill out to other things. You know. So I do things like that. I love to go to the movies. I'm a big recliner chair movie person. Like
Oh,
the
nice.
movie theater that has a reclining. I have to. Like ever since I did that, I was like, I can't sit regular anymore. But,
It's not the regular for me.
you
Like
know,
the regular, no, I don't watch
so
movies that way anyway.
I like to take time out for that. Some other things I've learned along the way is to not book my weeks up so far in advance that I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to do all of this. You kind of it's well nursing. Like we can sign up to work overtime. Like overtime, especially right now, overtime
Yeah.
is a thing. I've learned to like scale it back. You
Yeah.
know,
Ooh.
I pick up when I want to pick up, and it's been some times that I could have picked up and I'm like, oh, this money would have been real good. But I'm like,
Was it really worth? Would it really
yeah.
be worth my?
Yeah, I'm like,
Oh,
I'd rather go to the movies, or I'd rather sit at home, do a bubble bath, do
mhm.
my skincare routine, sit around and watch whatever. That's not really, I don't really have to pay too much attention to it. It's not like that big of, it's kind of like TV where you're just watching it, but it's not
Yeah.
really,
Okay.
yeah. So, I like to do stuff like that. I like to hang out with my friends. Last week, I went to like a bingo night downtown.
Oh,
That was
fun.
cool. So I like to do different things like that with friends and stuff. Um, but I like to take time for myself. Like
Mhm.
I've learned to be okay with not having to go to everything
Mm.
or being seen at everything. Like being okay with no, like no, thank you, or I'm not available, and not having to like really put an explanation for it. Like, sorry, I'm not available. You know,
Oh, yes. Those are all wonderful self-care. Like,
yeah.
you have to be intentional, and people think, like we said earlier, like, it's just, like, this whole intensive, like, you have to schedule and book it and put
No.
time in advance. I mean, that's great too, making sure you schedule and book your self-care, but you can also find, like, different ways and just spending time. And even the nutrition part, like, that's so important. Just everything that you said about nutrition and healthier eating. Like that's what I love. That's what I help my clients do. Just
Hmm.
glowing from the inside out. That's literally what
Yeah.
I want to embody. Like what you're putting in affects your glow, protect your glow. How do you do that? And I love that you find fun recipes and you're finding out more about you. That's
Hmm.
also helping you build a better relationship with you. Like
Yeah.
before you can love anybody else, you got to love
You have to love
you
yourself.
first. What does
Yeah.
that look like? Like I learned that.
Exactly, and it's okay to be selfish in that regard.
Mhm.
You
Because
know,
it's not really selfish because you're
it's like
really
you putting yourself first.
yeah.
You're there for other people. You're not just secluding yourself from being there for other people. But in order for you to be there for other people, you have to be there for yourself. You have to show up for yourself. You know,
Yeah.
how can I, at the essence of love, like how can I like fulfill or be the best or say that I love my family or that I show love to my family, but I can't show love to myself. Like, you know, we're the
Mm.
first person, you know, that we are interacting, you know. So
It
I
really
think
is.
of it like that. Like if I'm going to be available to someone else, I need to make sure that I'm available to myself. Like that I'm
Yeah.
listening to myself, listening to my body, not overdoing it, taking time
Mm.
for myself so that I can like recharge, you know, and be able to, you know, be there for other people. And I
Yeah.
think that's important, especially for like my friends that have kids. Like
Mm.
I always like tell them like, hey, you still need to take, you know, do something for yourself, you know.
Yeah.
Um, you know, especially like if, you know, the kids are at school and they have a day off, you know, go do something for yourself, you know.
Yeah.
Or if
Yeah.
you can get a babysitter, that's fine. And make sure you do something for yourself, you know,
100%.
like, you know, I know some people like as like their birthdays, like it's kind of like an afterthought because, you know,
Mm.
they have so many other responsibilities. But I'm like, that's your day. You know, do
Yeah.
something for yourself. Even if it's something simple as you bought yourself a candle.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, you went to Starbucks and got yourself a cake pop or something. Like, you know. So
Yeah. Sometimes less is more. Sometimes
yeah.
less is more. Like if
Sleep
you slow it
in.
down. That's it
I
too. I
love
was just about to
sleeping
say
in.
something about sleep.
I love
Yes. Like
sleeping
for
in,
me,
especially. Mm,
when it comes to sleep, oh yes, honey, because that's where it all starts. That's
mhm,
where, your circadian rhythm, when you have that regular sleep pattern and you're making
mhm.
sure you're getting enough sleep, whether that's 7 or 8 hours. For me, I like my beauty sleep. I'm in bed early. I'm getting my 8 hours, and you
I'm
can't tell me
learning.
nothing.
It's so crazy because like for years I still like working night shift. It kind
Mhm.
of you
Night
kind of
shift
have
too.
to, you know, figure out what works best for you, and
Yeah.
you know, because sometimes we need that extra day and a half to
Yeah.
recuperate. And then also I want to say like exercising too. Like
Yeah.
I'm starting to appreciate exercising. Like I'm starting like, oh, okay, you know, it makes me feel better, even though it's kind of like, oh, oh, I got to exercise today. But by the end of
Yeah.
it, I'm like, oh, I feel so much better. Like,
Oh
so.
my God, yes, yes, 100%. Like I love working out. I'm a coach, I'm a personal trainer, but at the same time, I have those days when I don't want to. Like
Mm-hmm.
on Monday, I was like, I do not want to work up. I do not want to work out, but I took it slow. I was like, it's okay. I wasn't going to bully myself. I was like, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I did my quiet time. I wrote in my journal. I said, today I'm going to the gym. I'm going to do at least 30 minutes. You can even
Yes.
plan things like that, like your self care things, writing it out on your journal. Okay. Looking at it, flipping back and forth. Like, did I do it? Did I accomplish?
Mm-hmm.
And then I got into the gym, and when I got, going, I was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, I do like working
Yeah.
out. Oh, I'm good." Like, yeah, for sure. Those are wonderful self-care things that we should carry into our lives every day. And I think the main thing from this is just taking time to slow down, taking time
Yes.
to slow down your thoughts, writing things out, just getting things out of your brain onto paper, getting out of your head, and just taking a moment in the silence. There's purpose in the silence as well. Like silence doesn't mean that there isn't work happening, that something's not going on.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're still creating habits, you're still
Yeah.
pouring into yourself. And sometimes that silence, just to write it out. Maybe you jam out in your journal session.
You can, or you can, you know, sometimes certain music kind of gets you into a certain mindset to be able to flow, like let things flow out better.
Yeah.
Um, but even like another, like I have like some tips and stuff in my journal, and I say like, you know, have a dance, like turn some music on and dance, like, you know, sometimes I have full on concerts, like,
Love,
like, you know,
love.
so you have to figure out like what things work for you,
Mhm.
and you have to figure out you can always find time. Like
Come on.
even if you sit in the bathroom for 3 minutes or whatever, 5 minutes a piece, anything,
Yeah,
your
yeah.
favorite body wash, going to get your favorite body wash, going to Bed Bath and Beyond and smelling all the scents, or
Mm.
just walking around the store, like simple things. Like I think to just to be by yourself and be in your thoughts and kind of
Yeah,
like recharge, you
yeah.
know, and figure
It
out what
sounded
you like, what you don't like. You know, some people, I feel like some people are maybe hesitant to be by themselves or to
mm,
like internalize or think about what they want, what they need because they're always doing for other people.
yeah,
I think
yeah,
sometimes that affects nurses too because we're always we're always giving of ourselves to our patients to, it's demanding. The patients have needs, then you have emails, you
yeah,
have modules, you have meetings, you have all these different things. And it's kind of like sometimes you can get so self absorbed into those things that you don't take time for yourself. Like I have conversations with coworkers like all the time, like
yeah.
when do you do something for yourself? They're like, oh, but I got this, and this. And it's like, if the people that you're doing those things for,
Mhm.
as far as like family wise, because patients, a lot of times patients, it's focused on what they got going on. And I
Yeah,
can't expect my patients to be worried about me. No.
yeah.
But as far as like family, like if you're doing so much for other people and they truly care about you,
Mm.
they should be okay with
They'll
you doing stuff for
understand.
yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
No one else is in charge of your self-care. Like,
no,
it's
you got to be in
no
charge.
one else. No one else is gonna do it for you. I had a friend tell me that. Shout out my friend Takesha. When she said that to me, I was like,
Yeah,
"Oh, you for real? No one else." And it's not
self
like
care, self love, self esteem, self accountability,
self
self.
for a reason.
Hmm.
You have to do it. It's not the other way around, like others are gonna come and pour into you. I mean, there are friends. We have our
Yeah.
social circles, people that pour into us and give to us, but we also have to be that main source as well. We have to be a main source of what do I need today? Do I
Hmm.
need my quiet time? Do I need to say my prayers? Do I need to talk to God? Do I need to, visit with a loved one? Do I need a healthy meal? What is it that I need? So I love that you just shared
Hmm.
those pointers for nurses that are so used to giving to everyone else that it might
Hmm.
feel a little awkward to be like, what do I need? What is it
Hmm.
that I need again?
Yeah. Do I just need to sit in the parking garage? I do that a
Mm,
lot. Do I need to sit in the parking garage and recharge?
yeah.
Reflect on the night or the day, whichever shift I'm working. You know, did
You
I
work
show up
both?
my
You
best?
do all of them?
I flip.
Who friends? Woo! I heard you say night shift, and I was like, "What?" That
Yeah.
was probably in her beginning career. So yes, you do
So,
both. What are some self care tips for night shift nurses? What are some
um,
things that you do to make sure that you're recharged? Because, like I said earlier, the circadian rhythm it gets thrown
it
off.
gets
Your
off.
body is not used to that. Like
It's
your
off.
hormones, your sleep patterns, your mental health can be affected.
Hmm.
So what keeps you recharged?
For night shifts,
For night shift.
specifically, I would tell the night shift nurses to, when you have your days off, like, don't be so quick to go out and do stuff. Like,
Yeah.
like take time for yourself, reflect and see. Like, I say it usually takes like a day and a half. So if you're working 3 nights straight, don't try to push yourself to be social the next day. You know,
Mm,
it's okay to be with yourself. You do need to make sure you're eating well
yeah.
because if you're eating garbage, it's gonna end up catching up with you,
Yeah.
especially working nights.
Yeah.
So I feel like I always take time for myself. Like I'm not, when I would say when I was younger, when I was like newer into stuff, like I used to could work and just keep going, 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 going. COVID kind of had me burning out from doing all of that. But like taking time for yourself, like planning out your time.
Yeah.
Especially like don't try to schedule stuff in the morning
Ooh.
because
You're
that's
gonna
not
be
gonna be
dead.
productive. Yeah, you schedule yourself at night, making sure you do plan something. Because I know like with night shift, once I get off of work, I come straight home. I go to sleep. Like I take a shower, I go to sleep. Like I don't want to do much of anything. Um, but I make sure as far as like on my days off that I'm doing something. But sometimes on my days off, that first day off, I might sit around
Yeah.
and you
I
know
remember those.
that's
Yeah.
kind of like a recharge. I feel like it's okay to like sit around, and then maybe the next day I might go do something. It's kind of tricky when you working like one day on, one day off, 2 days on, 3 days off. Kind of that's kind of tricky. In that sense, I would say like sit and try to like for those days when you can't really do anything, at least get up out the bed, stretch,
Yeah.
exercise, have a warm bubble bath with Epsom salt because your feet hurt because you've been walking around all night. Kind of and like check in with yourself to make sure like that you're that you're checking your boxes of things that you need to do for
Mm.
yourself. I also have learned to like as far well in nursing, you know how we delegate out.
Yeah.
How can life
So
kind of like
important.
delegate out,
Ooh.
So like I know sometimes like I would just do like the HEB grocery like,
Yeah.
curbside or now you can get your groceries delivered,
Yeah.
kind of like delegate things out so that you don't drain yourself more,
Mm.
especially if you're doing it by yourself. Now, if you have a spouse or if you have other people helping you out, that you might have a little bit more leeway as far as not burning yourself out too much. But definitely take self-care time as far as like a good shower, a good bath, like,
Mm.
you know, maybe a cup of wine and your favorite movie or catch up on your favorite shows and not feel like it's a necessity to actually be around people.
Because you're missing everything from the
Yeah.
day. That's so good. Like releasing that pressure. Like
Hmm.
in this season of my life, in this time, it is not
Yeah.
appropriate. It is not going to be wise for me to show up in the daytime. I'm a vampire right now in this season.
Hmm.
It is
And
a season for you.
it's okay to put your phone on do not disturb.
Oh yes, D&D baby. That
Yes.
is my thing for
It's
sure.
okay.
Yeah.
If it's an emergency, if they call you twice, your phone will ring. So, you
And they
know,
have a little thing where it says notify them anyway. So
yes. Or
yeah.
you have your list of people that their phone calls will come through.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. The main people. Yeah.
Hmm.
That's good. Yeah. Do not disturb and turn off all those notifications because we have a lot of them. We're all on our phone. Like
Hmm.
that's for anybody. Like you can reduce some of that strain and some of those email notifications and all the
Hmm.
apps and everything and just put on
Yes.
the ones that are important, especially for like if you're at work or if you're trying to do your self-care time. Like that's
Hmm.
so good. Oh my gosh, Myra, it has
Yes.
been so amazing catching up with you and just hearing your journey to purpose and how you've redefined it as a nurse practitioner, as an entrepreneur, as Myra, just
Yes.
your purpose again. So I so appreciate all of the work that you've shared with us. Where can we follow you and find out more about your planners, about your journals, about all the work that you're doing?
Sure. So I have an Instagram, Plan Her Vibes. So PLANHERVIBES. So on the Instagram, if you go into the bio, it has a link tree, and in the link tree, it lists the available journals.
Oh,
And
and don't you have a journal with you right now?
yes, so my journals are split into quarters of the year. So first quarter journal, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. So right now we're currently in the third quarter. So this is the cover. So this is a sample from Amazon, but this is what the cover is. And then for the fourth quarter, it would be this one.
A work in progress.
So in the journals, like that is included, I like kind of have like reflection areas where you can, oh, you probably can't see this, but basically like what is self-care to me, what is self-love, like what am I providing love and self-care for myself, kind of like a reflection, like reflect over
Question.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, questions. And then I have areas where you can kind of create your morning routine, your evening routine, kind of figure out what works for you, what doesn't. Self-care tips, different things if you don't know what to do, different things to help kind of start, kind of like trigger you to like, oh, I like these different things or whatever.
Yeah.
And then like every month has goals, action steps, areas to journal and put like a daily affirmation. And like every month at the end, kind of like a reflection, like, was I able to accomplish the things that I wanted to? So I
Yeah.
feel like, we might start off with one thing and end up with something else.
Yeah.
So
100%. Yes. And sometimes you
yes.
need those journals to get you back on track.
Yes. And then, if you feel like, oh well, I only need this journal for this quarter. I don't need this journal for the whole year. That's why it's split up to figure out where you are in your life
Mm.
and what you want to do. But yeah, I'm all about trying to help people realize that self care is important. I
Yeah.
feel like a
Yeah.
lot of times we don't talk about self care, especially in nursing.
Mhm.
It's a lot of patient care,
Yeah.
but not necessarily how is the nurse, you know.
Dealing with that. How are you going to cope with that? How are you going to get to
Yeah,
that
it
other
can be
side?
stressful.
It is
Nursing
very stressful.
nursing is a very rewarding job, but
Yes.
it can be stressful. And depending on where you are in your journey of nursing, you can experience burnout. And it's
Yeah.
okay to verbalize it,
Yeah.
and figure out how you're going to navigate it.
Yeah.
So,
100%. And there you have it, friends. Miss
yes,
Myra sharing more about her planner vibes and how you can stay connected with her. Thank you so much again for hopping
you're
on with us.
welcome.
We appreciate you so much. And we will definitely be seeing you soon. If you're in the Houston area, hun, yes, we're going to definitely
Yes.
get together for sure.
And definitely like reach out, whoever, wants to reach out if y'all want to ask nursing questions or whatever.
Yes.
Just-
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you for sure.
Thank
The
you.
NP journey has been amazing and we so appreciate you. All right, friend. We'll see you next time. Thank you. Y'all, it's been real. Shout out Ms. Myra Taylor for coming on the You Glow Nurse podcast. Just all of the things self-care in this episode. So many different levels, so many ways to, again, pivot, redefine, and get to that purpose on the other side. What does it mean to be a nurse, to experience the burnout, to experience the emotional exhaustion? It happens to us all, but know that you're not alone in this journey and that wellness, self-care can help you experience the purpose that you're needing, the redefining of the purpose. How will you elevate to that next step? And we're here to support you on the You Glow Nurse podcast. So make sure you like, subscribe, and share this episode with a friend, a nursing friend that you know will enjoy this. And go ahead, feel free to leave me a comment, a review. It means so much to me. It means so much to the wellness community, and just let them know it's real and that you believe in this mission as well. All right, friends, it's been real. I appreciate everyone that showed up tonight, and we will see you next time. Bye.